Hi, this is Kevin from MaximizingEcommerce.com. I help people start and grow e-commerce businesses. In this video, I'm going to show you how to figure out how much a product sells on Amazon. And I'm also going to show you a couple of free resources the pros use that makes doing so a lot easier. So to start off, let's take a look at a product and figure out how much it sells on Amazon. So I'll show you a couple different ways of doing this. So pretend we're looking up, we want to sell French press. Oops, if I can spell. So we'll say a French press coffee maker. So if I pick one of them, now I could do so by looking at a lot of them all at once, or I can just pick one to kind of get a sense. So let's just say I was going to pick this one here. Now this is one I would take a little bit of a grain of salt for starting out, because this is going to be a pretty top-notch one, because it's got so many reviews, but at least it tells you what the market could do. So for this particular product, if I wanted to figure out how much it was selling in a day, what I would do is, and this is the harder way of doing it, but you could go over here, you could add 999 items, or the quantity of 999 to your cart. And if they have less than 1,000 units in inventory, which most of the time, in most cases, products are going to have less than 1,000 units in inventory, and it'll say there's only 327 left, or whatever the number is. So you could go at approximately the exact same time the next day, and you can look and see, do the same trick and see how many that product has. And you could do that for several different products of the same keyword that you're looking for. So if you're looking for French press coffee maker, you could do that for several different French presses. That's one way of doing this. So then on the next day, if they had 317 left and they went from 327 units to 317, hypothetically speaking, they had sold 10 units, and then you could just do that day by day and figure out about how many are selling. That's the harder way of doing it. There's another couple ways you could do this. So if I scroll down a little bit farther into the description, over here where it says product information, Amazon's going to tell us what's called the bestseller rank, which is this right here. And sometimes the bestseller rank is going to be indicative. Well, I shouldn't say sometimes. Pretty much all the times it's going to give us a general sense of how much a product sells. So this particular item is number 189 in home and kitchen. So in the home and kitchen category, it might go from number 1 being literally the best seller to all the way to, let's say, several million, meaning it's the lowest selling item, which maybe sells not at all, or sells maybe 1 or 2 units a year. But this particular unit is probably going to sell quite a few per day. We'll take a look and see some estimates of that. And bestseller rank is going to be, as I remember why I was saying the word sometimes it's referred to as BSR. So BSR is going to be typically the most important one you want to look at, is this one right here for the overall category, because they're ranked by category. And that's going to be where, when you're looking at different tools, you want to know for that particular category, what is its BSR, because that's going to clue you in on how often or how much it sells. Now, if you look over here, it's number 2 in home and kitchen, kitchen and dining, coffee, tea, and espresso, coffee makers, French presses. Now, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 subcategories deep. Don't pay too much attention to this one. It's nice to see that this particular product is ranked so highly, but it's really, this is where the rubber meets the road, is in home and kitchen. Now, there's other categories like sports and outdoors, health and beauty, things of that nature, where they all have their own bestseller ranking. And also good to know for bestseller ranking is this number changes hourly. So it's not like it's a set number for a month. I mean, it's constantly changing. Like, I have products that maybe they're ranked 100,000, and then I sell a couple units in a day, and then it's suddenly in the 30,000s or something like that. And it's like something that's not even really moving very much. So there's a lot of movement within the bestseller ranking, even for products that don't sell all that much. So it's this is going to give you a clue as to how well this product has the potential of selling. Now, this is a very high potential product at 189. So now you're wondering, well, how much does 189 sell per day? Well, there's some third-party tools out there that can show you this. So one of which is if we go over here to FBA Toolkit. So FBAToolkit.com, this one's totally free. This is one I use quite a bit to get a sense of what products sell. Also, when you're looking at different products and you're looking at their various bestseller rankings, now, again, making sure to always look at it for the parent category, not the subcategories, but the parent category. So this is, again, home and kitchen. So they've got all these different categories that they're tracking, so you could see what something sells in that particular category. So let's say for a bestseller ranking of 189 in home and kitchen, it's telling us that it sells 89 units on average the last 30 days and 70 yesterday. So there's always going to be fluctuations on how much products sell from day to day. Fourth quarter, of course, it's going to sell a lot higher. Certain days of the week tend to be higher, and sometimes those days of the week are going to vary quite a bit on the product. But just in general, on Amazon, there's always going to be dips and valleys and peaks and whatnot, of ups and downs of how much a product sells on a daily basis. So that's what it sells at 189. Now, what if it was 18,900, so almost 19,000? In the home and kitchen category, that would sell 8 per day, 9 in the last day. 8 or 9 units, I would say, is still a very good product. Like, it may not be a home run like the one we were looking at with 189 bestseller ranking of 70 to 90 per day. I mean, that's crazy. That would be a really good product to have. Now, I would say even if you were, let's say 40,000. Oops, that's 4,000. That's still a good ranking. But 40,000 in home and kitchen will get you 4 to 6. I would say that's still about a base hit, so to speak. The other one being 189 that was selling 70, 90 units a day, that would be like a grand slam, bottom of the ninth, to use the analogy from baseball, game-winning grand slam, the ninth game of the World Series, that type of thing. That's not necessarily one that you're always going to hit right away. I like to go after base hits because sometimes the base hits become home runs and whatnot. So some work out well, some don't. But I think it's also good to know, before I get too much on a tangent there, as to what it looks like in other categories. So if I was to pick home improvement, for example, 189 would be, so we would be looking at 73 a day in the last 30 days, 50 in the last, yesterday. Now, if we looked at 189 in sports and outdoors, we'd be looking at 17 on average, which is way down from the almost 90 it was with home and kitchen. And automotive, if we were at 189, we would be looking at about 45 a day. What about 18,900 for this particular category 3? And for sports and outdoors, 2 on average. And home improvement, 5 or 6. So if you remember, for home and kitchen, just so we're looking at the same thing, it would be 8 or 9. So you can see it changes wildly based on category. So you always have to make sure that you not just think about what is the bestseller rank, but what is the category it's in. So the overall parent category that it's in is going to have a huge bearing on what that bestseller rank is, because remember, each category has its own ranking, and each category has its own levels of sales, and how much that drops off as the number gets bigger of what its bestseller rank, which is a bigger number, is actually a lower ranking. So hopefully that makes sense there. Now, the next way to tell like how much does a product sell. So if we wanted to look and see not just what it was at one snapshot in time, because remember bestseller rank gives us one snapshot in time, what it was ranking when we looked it up, which happened to be for that particular hour, because remember it changes. Now it doesn't change wildly from 1 hour to the next, but from maybe one day to a week later, it could change quite a bit. Like maybe even go from like 10,000 to 200,000 or something along those lines. So a lot can change in a week. So you want to make sure that if you're looking at something, does this have a consistent track record of being, in a certain range of sales that you're looking for, or does that product, maybe it was a new product. So new products, oftentimes people are doing a lot of promotions on. So you want to make sure you take a little bit of a grain of salt if a product you're looking on is new. Now the product we were looking at before for French press. So this particular website I'm on here, I should introduce, but it's camelcamelcamel.com. It's kind of an ingenious website. It's basically these folks that put together, the whole point of this is it's free information. It gives you alerts of when prices change. It's really more geared for consumers, and I think their business model, if I remember correctly, I can't say this 100%, but I think what they're trying to do is get Amazon affiliate sales. So they're getting a commission off of every product that's sold when someone buys something off of a link on here. But for product research, it's really helpful. So what you could do is, let's say we wanted to look back at our French press. So French press. And I can pretty much tell you the one we were looking at, it was, I think it was called Sakura. No, that's not it. Actually, let me show you another way you could look it up. So if I go over here to the ASIN, the Amazon stock number, and I come back over here, I could just put in the ASIN. So I could paste that. So now it gives me, if I come down here, it'll show me what is the price history, because that's really what it's more geared for, is what is the price history of a particular product. So you can see this particular product that we were looking at, it's selling anywhere between like, I don't know, was it probably $19, $20 to, it's got a few spikes here and there. Sometimes price spikes go up when inventory gets low because they're trying to slow down their sales. But if I wanted to see what the sales rank history looks like, it's going to give it to me for a duration of time. So when this loads, you can see it's staying pretty consistent in that 0 to 5 to 10,000 range. Now this might be where it goes down really low. They may have run out of stock. And then over here, this might correspond to, on the price history tab, this increase in price. Maybe they're starting to run low, and so they increased the price, which slowed down their sales. So if you have less sales, the number for your bestseller rank starts getting bigger, which means, of course, you have a lower bestseller ranking. And so this is a very consistent product. Now, there's also a good sales history on this one because it goes all the way back to 2014 to now when I'm filming this in 2017. So it's got 2.5 years of history. Sometimes you look at some and they might have 2 weeks of history. So I would take anything with short history with very much a grain of salt. You can at least see what the potential is for a new product being launched, but it could be that they're really promoting it heavily or something along those lines. So it doesn't necessarily give you what the long-term game is going to be, so to speak, on that particular product. But it is a good way to look. Now, you could also look at other products too. So going back to, we look up French press. So if I went down here and just picked a different one, this particular one, you can see the sales. Now this one, you can see the sales are only for about a week, just a little more than a week. If I click on here to sales rank, Now you can see, oh, this has got a pretty good rank because it's between 1,500 and 3,400. But again, it's for a little more than a week. So they could be doing some very heavy, very heavy promoting of this. So when their promotions are over, their sales velocity might drop, meaning they don't sell quite as much. So I wouldn't necessarily look at this and say, oh, wow, if I just come straight into the market, I can sell one at a 1,500 bestseller ranking, because that may not necessarily be the case. I mean, and a 1,500 bestseller ranking is also a home run hit, because going back to this one, if I was in home and kitchen and I was at, let's say, 1,500 approximately, that's 47 a day. I mean, that's, well, on average the last 30 days. As you can see, yesterday was lower because it's all about averages there. But that's a really high ranking. I mean, I personally tend to go for ones that are more base hits, maybe like 15,000 would be pretty good, or even going something more along, let's say 45,000 is not a bad one to go after, because there tends to be less competition, but you still have decent sales. And if you think about it, little sales add up quick. So let's do this. Let's go back over here to Amazon. I'm going to show you another way. So these two resources I showed you, Camel, and FBA Toolkit, they're both great resources that are free. Then there's also another plugin that I have. So if I was to type in French press in Chrome, so I'm using the Google Chrome extension. If I go over here to this, what you see is JS, which is Jungle Scout. This is a paid app, but this does a lot of the work I was just doing for a whole bunch of products all at once. So this is telling me everything that's on this screen. It doesn't always show the sponsored ones, but at least the ones that are coming that are not sponsored ads, which is good because these are the ones that are coming up organically for that particular keyword. But it's going to show me basically the price, the sales ranking, the estimated sales based on what they think the sales ranking is. Now, one thing I do want to point out, it doesn't matter what source you're looking at. Amazon puts out the bestseller ranking, so whatever software you're looking at, it'll get a snapshot in time of what that particular bestseller ranking is, but no one truly knows what the bestseller ranking is for a particular product. Or sorry, what a bestseller ranking, I should say, you do know what the bestseller ranking is for that product, but what you don't know is you don't know for that bestseller ranking, how many units is that selling. There's always ways of determining approximations. They can spend a lot of time looking at the data and taking bits and pieces of data and extrapolating, so to speak, using statistical methods to come up with it. But they're always going to be a little bit skewed, and they're always one little point in time. However, with that being said, I like tools like this because they give you a ballpark range of what something is going to be selling for. So this particular one, you can see a lot of these are very highly ranked. So clearly there's a lot of French presses being sold on Amazon. Now, a lot of them have a whole lot of reviews. Like when you start getting into like tens of thousands of reviews, that's a lot. Now I can look and go a little bit deeper. So if I say extract next page, this is all for what is on this particular page here in the background. But if I go down a little bit lower to the next page, now you start seeing ones that are like 70,000, 40,000. Those are ones that might be a little easier to attain. So if I'm looking at all these, there's a lot of really good products in here, and you can see you got all kinds of different ones. And you can, if you wanted to see, one of the nice things is for Jungle Scout, you can see not just what it is at this particular point in time. You can do kind of like what Camel did, and you can see over a time period. So this particular product looks like it must have launched back in January, and it's showing you what the sales ranking has been. So this has been anywhere its current ranking of about 63,000 to it's been, close to 300,000. So not sure what had caused it to fluctuate quite a bit, but you can see products can fluctuate a lot. It's not like it's going to just go from 190 to 300 and kind of be in that range. It might go from, let's say that's 18,000 to 300,000 and take sharp turns. Now, these must be promotions when it's going so quickly. But you never know. It's hard to say. I mean, sometimes items get picked up and people buy a few items of it, and very quickly the rank changes. So you can see how some of these ranks are changing fairly quickly over time. Now, also, if you wanted to, you can look and see what a product sells for. Where was the one we were looking at? Let's just pick a different one. Let's pick this one here. So we can also see what the sales price is that it has been selling for. So this one, for the most part, has been pretty consistent, but you can see they must have been doing some promotions where they change the price. So as you can see, if you lower the price, that could have an effect on how many units are being sold too. So it also helps you as you're looking at this to know that you have the full picture of when you're looking at things, you're not just getting one snapshot in time. You can start seeing more and more. But that's one of the things I like about Jungle Scout. It's a pretty decent price, especially for the time it saves. And I'm going to include a link down below in case you're interested in purchasing it. I particularly think it was a great investment for me. And I highly recommend it. But if you decided you wanted to just at least start off doing research, you can always do FBA Toolkit. You can always do Camel, Camel, Camel. You can always even just add to cart and click 999 for the number of units that you want to purchase. And Amazon will tell you, oh, wait, there's not 1,000 units. So all we have in stock is this amount. And then you could just keep doing that every day at about the same time. So if you get off work or something or school or something at, let's say 6 o'clock, and you at 9 o'clock every day, you're going to check for a week for, a series of a few products, you could do that and see, how many are in stock. And then whatever the difference is approximately how many it sold. And you could also record whatever the bestseller rank is for that particular time period. And that helps you to determine how many units a particular product sells. So hopefully you found this helpful, and if you did, please share it with a friend and subscribe to our channel so that we can keep you updated when we release more helpful tips and videos. And also head on over to maximizingecommerce.com and sign up to receive exclusive resources and helpful hints so that you can maximize your e-commerce results. So thank you for watching and have a great day.